Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. Time for a quick traffic court clip. This driver, he's just being as honest as he can with the magistrate. Two gas stations and they both didn't have a diesel pump. Even I find that hard to believe. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Morning, Your Honor.
Okay. Now calling 25W000542. This is the Township of Ypsilanti versus Nicholas Trenkle. Can I have appearances for the record, please, starting with the deputy?
Deputy A. Clark.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Trenkle, please unmute and state your name for the record.
Nicholas Trenkle.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, so today is the date and time set for an informal hearing in this matter. What I have here is a citation from April 7th, 2025 that charges that on or about that date, Mr. Trenkle, you operated a motor vehicle on Washtenaw Avenue at or near Gulfside Drive and avoided 2 traffic control devices. So this is a civil infraction. There is no criminal penalty associated with this, no jail time, no probation. There is, however, a fine. There may also be points. Before we get started, Deputy Clark, was there anything that you wanted to offer?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Then, Mr. Trenkle, you have 3 basic options when it comes to this citation. You can accept responsibility. That is basically admit that you avoided a traffic control device, pay the ticket. You can accept responsibility with an explanation so that the court can take into consideration any mitigating factors and potentially lessen or eliminate the fine, not the points. The court does not control the points. That is the Secretary of State. Finally, you can deny responsibility. That is, deny that you avoided a traffic control device, at which point I will swear in both sides, take testimony, and make a decision based on preponderance of the evidence, which is a 49% to 51% standard.
Okay, I will deny responsibility.
Okay, then everybody raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief, Mr. Trenkle?
Yes.
And Deputy Clark?
I do.
Okay, thank you. So the way that this is going to work, Deputy Clark will go first. He is the officer in charge of issuing the citation. Basically, he's the plaintiff. Okay, you are not to interrupt him as he presents his testimony, evidence, anything else that he is associated with this ticket. Okay, when he is finished, it will be your turn to present your evidence testimony if you have any witnesses or anything. He is not to interrupt you either. Okay,
Yep.
Any questions are to be directed to me. So, any questions before we get started?
I don't have any.
Okay, thank you. Then Deputy Clark, you may proceed.
Your Honor, on 4/7/2025 at approximately 11:21 p.m., I was originally traveling eastbound on Washtenaw when I observed a 2013 Volkswagen cut through it was the first gas station that's located on Washtenaw and Hogback. I did a U-turn and had to go pretty fast to try to catch up. I initiated my emergency lights, and then he cut through the second gas station on Washtenaw and Gulfside, which that one I do have on camera. And I gave him a warning on the speed and then just cited him for avoiding a traffic control device.
You said you have camera footage?
I have camera footage of the second time that he did it.
Okay, are you able to present that?
Yes, let's see if I can flip this around. So right up here is him cutting through the gas station. He's right up here, and then he cuts through going there.
Okay, are you able to play that back again.
Yes.
Could you rewind it a little bit more so that I can see the can you back it up for me one more time, please?
Yep.
And he's somewhere in front of you in that clip?
Yeah, so I was going about 60 to even try to catch up to him. So that's why I gave him the warning on the speed as well.
Okay, and okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Trinkley?
Yes, just regarding the avoiding two traffic control devices, I had a driving home from a 10 p.m. soccer game. I got off of 23 onto Washtenaw, went up to the intersection of Carpenter and Washtenaw, and I obeyed a green right turn signal to turn right onto Carpenter. I then turned through the closed gas station, which it's legal to use a gas station parking lot to turn around. I obeyed the traffic control signal, which was a green light, and then I drove up to the next one. I was not speeding. When the officer pulled me over, he referenced a car going 72 miles per hour that had disappeared in a parking lot and reappeared. That was not me. I was certainly, if I'm going to go 72 on Washtenaw, I'm just going to blow through a stop. So, I'm not going to, turn right on a green turn signal. So I believe he was following a different car. Because I didn't avoid a first traffic control signal and I wasn't going 72. And I turned out of that gas station. That's when I recognized lights behind me. And I immediately stopped. So you can see I pulled over.
So just so that I'm clear, because I'm looking at okay, so Deputy Clerk. Obviously, this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Washtenaw Avenue. You're able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying that you saw a car coming down Washtenaw and avoid a traffic control device at this gas station?
So they would have been going down Hogback to go
Okay.
off of
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not my turn.
not Hogback, I'm sorry. Let me look real quick.
Carpenter?
Yes, it should be Carpenter, and they cut through the gas station to go onto Washtenaw.
Okay, so
That was
from
when
Carpenter,
that's when I first saw him cut through there. Because I had a I was sitting at the light and he cut through there and then continued down Washtenaw, and that's when I started trying to catch up to him. And then he
Okay.
cut through the second one on Washtenaw and Gulf side.
Yes,
Okay.
I took the exit off of,
Everybody hold up a second, because
I
I want to make sure
apologize.
that I've got this. Okay, so somebody's coming up Carpenter and you're saying, Deputy Clark, he cuts through the Shell station.
Where does he?
This one here on the corner? This is Are you able to see my screen?
I'm zooming in. I'm trying to look
Okay.
at it. Yes, yep, that's the
Okay,
one.
so this is Carpenter
cuts
Road. This
across
is the
there
Shell.
to avoid the first one and then continues going down Washtenaw. And that's when I tried catching up and I was going pretty fast.
Okay, and then golf side is. Here it is. Okay, and then you're saying the person then cut through this gas station.
The second gas station, I believe that's a BP.
Okay. Okay. And so, Mr. Trenkley, you're saying that you got off of 23 onto Washtenaw.
Yes,
And-
I was coming from Wide World Sports Soccer Game. There are the route that I take is to get on 94 at Saline and then take that to 23. And then I got off at Washtenaw. I pulled up to the light at Carpenter facing east. I turned right on the green turn arrow. And then I turned into that Shell station, but I'd already obeyed the traffic control device.
Okay. So just so that I'm clear then, so you are saying that you got off of the highway over here,
Yes.
turned onto Carpenter because you're in this lane.
I was not the car
Okay.
that he was following at that point. I was a different car. He referenced the car going into that Shell parking lot, disappearing, and then reappearing. And I believe that, that car must, there's a few things in that parking lot, a car that was traveling on Carpenter could have gone behind the building to the right of your mouse cursor. There's where it could have
Well, okay.
disappeared.
So just hold up a sec so that I am 1000% sure that I am clear. You're saying you came off of the highway
Yes,
here, you
yes.
turned onto Carpenter,
Yes.
and then turned into the Shell station basically to turn around so you could get onto Washtenaw.
Yes,
correct?
that's what I did.
Okay.
And I obeyed the turn signal with that traffic signal.
Okay.
I was not the car that was going 72 miles per hour. I was not speeding. Wasn't doing any of that. I was just trying to get home to a really late soccer game and I had to eat, I had to shower, I had to, get up the next morning.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And what are you saying as far as this intersection here at Gulfside?
I did turn into that parking lot. They don't have a diesel pump, so I continued through it. It's a diesel Volkswagen to go home because I live I mean, if you look at I was looking at the statute regarding that, and it says that, you can't disobey a traffic control device by driving through public or private property, which is not a street or a highway. You look up the definition of street or highway, and it says it's maintained for public use. A gas station parking lot is maintained for public use. It does say publicly maintained for public use, but I don't think there would intend to be a trivial distinction between whether there's a library or a convenience store on that corner. And there was nobody around. It didn't affect anybody at all that I went through there. I was just, so I don't think that that's a violation of the Michigan vehicle code there. I believe the reason I was even under the watch of the police officer was because he mistaken me for another car that was driving recklessly. I'm being as honest as I can with you, but
Okay. And it's your testimony at this point that you pulled into that parking lot intending to see if they had a diesel pump, and when they didn't, then you continued through the parking lot?
yeah, because I didn't need fuel, but I mean, either way, I don't think that's illegal.
Okay. Well, I do appreciate that you looked up the statute. That is why they are cited on the tickets. I will note that the distinction is it's public property, which is not a street or a highway,
Yes.
and a parking lot is clearly not a street or a highway.
No. If you look up the definition, they have definitions in the motor vehicle code too. They have a section for street or highway, or a section for highway or street. And it
Yes.
does say that it doesn't depend on whether or not it just refers to whether it's maintained for public use or not. And it does, it's a parking lot would be maintained. I think what that law is intending to say is that you can't drive off a highway, you can't drive on a sidewalk, you can't drive on a lawn, you can't drive through like a park, for instance. You can't do these things is what that's intending to regulate. It's not intending to make a trivial distinction between whether that is a library or a convenience store on the corner there. But it says a street or highway, would be anything publicly maintained for public use.
So what I will say is that based on the testimony here, I am going to find you not responsible. And the matter is dismissed. You are free to sign out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.